Thanks, Jeff. I'm just going to cover three things briefly today. I just want to introduce AusVeg's export team, give an outline of the current export activities in our program for 2015, and a brief overview of the vegetable exporting landscape. So I've met a number of you, but for those that I haven't, my name's Michael Coote. I'm AusVeg's Export Development Manager, and the rest of the team is comprised of Claire McClelland and Tom Cohen, all of whom are here today, so please introduce yourself at some point over today or tomorrow. And if you do need to get in touch with us at all following the event, yeah, please use those contact details there. So there are five sort of key areas that we're currently working on. The first being market access policy and procedure. So that is mainly around making representations to government on behalf of industry in relation to trade and export policy, strengthening relationships with government and industry, and providing information on market development and market access issues, status and prioritisation. The next point's around building broader export and trade industry relationships and participation, particularly with international trade-related organisations. That third point is about communications. So each year we release a number of trade talk newsletters. The next one's coming out in February, so keep an eye out for that. We also in the bi-monthly Vegetables Australia magazine, always include an export section with a range of hopefully useful and informative articles, and we will be holding a number of seminars around the country this year, which I'll touch on a little bit later. The next point is developing international vegetable export opportunities. So this is around trying to deliver growers the opportunity to explore and develop new markets in Asia and the Middle East, and I'll talk about this in more detail shortly. And also the reverse trade mission, which we'll be running this year, I'll cover off a little bit later. Part of our export readiness activities involve informing and educating growers of what it actually takes to export produce to international markets. So I hope that this program will help guide those who are currently thinking about exporting to become export ready. So there's three key resources that we've got: an export readiness checklist and a supporting guide for that, and also a document that you would have been provided in that pack today called Exporting Australian Fresh Vegetables, which is designed to explain the export process for growers who are unfamiliar with what actually happens when they're trying to export produce from the farm gate to some international market. These documents are designed to be complementary and aim to clarify the entire export process from beginning to end. And if you haven't got a copy of that document yet, make sure you ask one of our team and grab one at some point. We've also got another whole range of other resources on the AusVeg website for levy-paying growers interested in further developing export capabilities. So there's a market access matrix, which is a simplified overview of export market access by commodity, and it's a brief overview of market access that's been compiled so that growers who are interested in exporting can find simplified market access information in a single location. There's also a range of country fact sheets that have been developed, so you should have the Malaysia and UAE sheets in your pack today, and these snapshots aim to provide key information on current trade, further opportunities, and a few sort of handy pieces of information about doing business in a particular market. And we'll be developing and releasing a range of other sort of snapshots for key markets over the coming weeks. So part of further developing export markets, AusVeg will undertake a range of activities, including attendance and participation at a number of key international trade shows each year. The first of which for 2015 is Food and Hotel Indonesia from 15th to 18th of April. So if anyone's interested in participating in that, expressions of interest have opened, so please let us know via the export@ausveg email address. The other show that we've got locked in for the year is Asia Fruit Logistica, which many of you know is the premier fresh produce show for the Asia region. We'll also be holding a number of seminars around the country throughout the year, so keep an eye on the AusVeg weekly update for further dates and information as these events draw closer. So Ozveg will be holding its 2015 National Horticulture Convention from 25th to 27th of June at Jupiter's on the Gold Coast. And this year we'll see apples and pears joining with Ozveg for this event, making the National Horticulture Convention easily the largest event in Australian horticulture. And registrations have now opened for that, so get on board. The key export activity that runs in conjunction with the convention is the 2015 Reverse Trade Mission. So, building on success of, of last year's Reverse Trade Mission, we'll again be inviting 40 delegates from across a range of key markets to visit growing operations, retailers, wholesale markets, etc., and attend the convention. So, delegates for this year's Reverse Trade Mission will hail primarily from Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Japan. And will include a range of importers, wholesalers, retailers, etc. from across these markets. We're still setting the itinerary for this, but it'll run in the week directly preceding the convention. So before I hand over to Austrade to kick off the Malaysian program, I'll just give a brief overview of Australian vegetable exports. So, as you can see there, export value was around 256 million in 2013-14. Which represented only about 7% of the value of vegetable production. So, as you can see there, both Malaysia and the UAE are in the top half a dozen markets, which sort of demonstrates their importance and is part of the reason that we're focusing on them for the next 2 days. So this slide breaks down Australian vegetable exports by commodity, and as you can see, sort of carrots and turnips are the largest commodity group exported from Australia, accounting for around 22% or about 56 million of total exports in 2013-14. There's the export analysis paper that you've all received today, or if you haven't, please grab one from the back at some point, which goes into a lot more detail about the export landscape more broadly, as well as key opportunities that have been presented by the recent free trade agreements that have been established. I think we all know that Australian vegetable production possesses strengths that can be of an advantage in export markets, including high food safety standards, perception of premium products, and counter-seasonality benefits as well. So while Australian vegetable exports are relatively low compared to other horticulture sectors, some of our research indicates that this is partly due to a perception that exporting has been too difficult or too involved. So it is encouraging to see over 60 people here today that are interested in learning about exporting and further developing export capabilities. So hopefully this turnout's indicative of a change in perception towards exporting, from it being too difficult towards helping to ensure continued profitability of the vegetable industry. So that's it from me. I'll now hand over to Jenny van der Meeberg from Austrade to kick off the Malaysia program.